What's up, guys? This is Jordan here from Uprint SA. I'm doing a training video on how to use the RIP software from scratch to finish. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in a logo or artwork. It's just going to bring in a single logo. Let's just bring in this one here. Alright, so this is a funny looking cat. You can also bring in multiple jobs. Let me just bring in another one here quickly. You can have multiple jobs up here at once. If you bring this across nicely like that, you can actually see what type of image it is. It's a PNG image, as well PNG. So if you export as a PNG or a PSD or a JPEG, it's going to be labeled at the top here. There's a few things I want to show you guys before we move on to the next step. If you click on your expanded tool there, you can now single out this logo. Click in the top left corner here your zoom feature, and you can just zoom into that logo just to see what it looks like. You can also drag this around or drag that down to give you a bit more space to work with. As you can see the logo there. And then if you want to go back to where it was, you click on the top right corner here and it brings you back to that. You can also minimize your logo, so if you need to bring in 10 different logos or 10 different artworks at once, you can manage it in here. Click that up again to bring that up. Alright, let's zoom into this one. Just want to show you some tools here. So you can see when you go to print preview here that there is a gap at the bottom here and a gap at the top. Okay, so the width is pretty much fine, but if you wanted to crop this inside the RIP software, which you can, there's some design features on here we're going to use. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go zoom to fit to bring it back to its normal size. So if you look and right click, here is a few things you can, like print preview, you can go in from there. There's also you can print the image from there, image information, give you a bit more information on your image. Right click again, you can zoom in with that feature as well. Zoom to fit again. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to crop this. We're going to click the selection tool. I'm going to make sure to grab in the areas that I want to crop. So select that, and now I can hover over that and click crop, or I can right click and click crop at the top there. It's now cropped that image. I'm now going to press exit on the one that has been that wasn't cropped. Press the exit sign, and then I select. You can use the hand tool or the zoom in tool there, and now I select that, and you can see that it's now closer to the border of the image. Let's go to preview again, and now I can make this image a bit bigger. Let's go fit to page. You can see now you can actually expand the image now, where previously you had large gaps there that wouldn't allow you to do that. Alright, so inside print preview there is a few things you need to understand. In print options, we're going to select that, drag that box across. So print options in the top left corner here, drag that box across. You've got three options here. You've got as in document size, which is the original document size that you brought it in as. You can see I've selected that. Your size is 209 millimeters by 253 millimeters. Okay, if I go expand or fit to page, so that'll make the image as the largest it can be. You can see the size change from 202 to 289 as well. And then you got customize. If I select customize, I can then change the width manually, or I can lock the ratio and it'll change it based on that ratio size. So you can change it either way you want. So I'm going to unlock that. I'm going to go back to fit to page. Actually, no, let's keep custom. I just want to show you one more thing here. Let's go lock to ratio. Press OK. Okay, that's now the true ratio. Let's go back to print options. And now we want to center the logo on the page, the artwork on the page. We're going to use this little box in the corner here. You select that center button and you press OK. That's now centered it. Very important, guys. The image is mirrored inside your RIP software automatically. It defaults mirror. So don't mirror inside your design software. All right. Another tool you can look at here as well is custom. I can then manually change the X, so the image can go towards the right. You can maybe use this if you're printing on events bands. There might be a project that you're using to do that, or you cut your paper in a certain way. You might want to use this custom feature to change the direction of your image manually. Alright, let's just go fit to page, and I'm going to press OK. I've now set up the logo the way I wanted it, and now I want to take a look at the backgrounds. So we're printing on a yellow shirt. That's what it looks like. You can zoom in twice there. Printing on a yellow shirt, printing on a green shirt, printing on a black shirt. I think the colors might clash a bit. Black shirt might clash, maybe not. But you can determine this by looking at the different color backgrounds. So it is quite a nice tool, that. Alright, after we've done that, we're going to go cancel preview. Next thing is we're going to go and look at print adjustment. Print adjustment basically is controlling your white underbase and your highlight generator. This is a highlight generator over here and your white underbase over there. Choke and highlight will remain at 100%. You do not need to change that. That is a much more complicated system. I'll probably come out with another video at a later stage to discuss that. Choke might just help you out with if you've got fading of your image on the edges of your image, and you want that fading to be nice and accurate instead of solid. Choke might help you out with that. Alright, underbase. Underbase is, in layman's terms, if you want to paint your house blue, you need to lay down a white primer first. So you paint your house white first before you put a blue color down. That is your underbase. Your underbase allows you to have the true color on the different color background. So if you've got a brick face house, in order to see blue on that brick face, you've got to put a white paint down first. Then you can put blue paint in order to get you that true color that you want, the exact color that you wanted. So that is what your underbase stands for. That white toner is getting laid down underneath all of the colors on this graphic. All the colors on this graphic. Okay, and then that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to print white there in the eyes. In order to get white in the logo itself, you would need to change it to on the fly. On the fly lays white down in the logo where there's white. So make sure that if you've got whites in your logo, you press on the fly. Now, in cases where you don't want to print whites in the eyes, you can always do this on a white shirt. You can say none, and then you can put a 30% underbase in order for the AMD paper to work. So it pretty much leaves that white area blank, and then the white t-shirt will come through in those areas. So you can do that. There's another way to remove a color is transparency tool. You can select that, click transparency, so it automatically defaults white. So you can see in the eyes there, it's removed the white. So it's defaulted white. You can see whites in the block there. So for now, I want to select a color. Let's go ahead and select the black. I'm holding Control, left click. I'm holding it down now. Control and left click on the mouse. It brings the no entry sign up. I'm going to drag that across, holding it down, then letting it go together. You can see it takes only one shade of that black out. So the rest of it only really works nicely if you've got vector colors. So let me demonstrate this on another. So let's go here. That's where maybe it'll work a bit better. So let's go transparency. Let's select the black and drop it out. You can see now it's removed all of the black. So it's a vector black. It means that there's only one shade of that black in that logo. Vector colors, there's no fading of colors, there's no half tones, there's no gradients. So it works very well with a solid color. Press OK. All right. If you didn't like what you did, in order to go back, there's in the top left corner here, you can just press back, or you can say redo to do it again. Okay, so you've got that option to do that. Another thing is now contrast and brightness feature. I'm going to go back to the other image to demonstrate this. So brightness, contrast is quite an important thing, I would say, if you wanting to get a nice finish on your image. Like this image it looks a little bit pixelated. I can maybe work with a better image, but let's try and click on auto contrast. Alright, so the image is at a really good contrast at the moment, but I think it can go a bit better depending on a product you're branding onto. But if you up the contrast to a level, it tends to make the colors a lot more brighter on a shirt or on any product for that matter. So I'm going to manually change the contrast and watch the image. You can see that it's actually changing in color there. So I can make that figure, the cat, almost completely black, and the other colors around it super bright. So that might just work a bit better. So you can see now there's less Pantone and halftone colors. It's more now solid. So let's actually attempt the transparency tool now. Let's see what it does. See, now it's removed a lot more black in that image because the contrast made the black more black. So it's making the color more brighter or stronger in a sense. Okay, so you can do that. You can also up your brightness. So you can see there, you can make it darker if you want to do. Brightness setting I would really only use if you're doing photography. Sometimes photos are very dark and you want to up the brightness. Contrast I wouldn't use for photography. Depends on what type of photography you are doing. Another thing is your threshold limits. I'm going to go back to the other image to demonstrate that image has got too many colors in it. So if you've got an image and you want to make it completely black, or you want to make it black and white, you can go threshold. You'll see threshold, what it does is it makes one color. Okay, so it's made it completely black. It's removed all the purple there. Let's go okay. Let's open that up a bit. Sorry, zoom to fit. I'm going one more time. And you can see that it's made that image completely black. Now this is going to work very well for foiling. So if you want to press that onto a shirt and you want to foil over that, it's going to work very, very well. Why? Because foiling requires high details. So there's no ink in between this in this image, which means that when you foil, there's going to be a lot of character. You can see everything. It's not just a solid piece of black ink and you maybe only see the outlines of the image. You're going to see a lot of detail in that because it's got a lot of character. So you want, this is the type of image you want for foiling. This image, however, the other one, is a solid image. All you're going to see in the foiling is the outside of the edges. You're only going to see the edges of the image. You're not going to see the character of that image. You're not going to see the eyes and everything else. Unless maybe you remove some of the, like if you remove the white in the eyes and you can remove some colors anywhere else, you can maybe create an image up like that, but it's a lot of work. Definitely work with these type of images when doing foiling. It definitely works better. Alright, I don't like what I did, so I'm going to go back there, but let me just show you one more feature on threshold. If I go, I can move it all the way to the left, and it brings in some white there. Can you see that? Alright, so now there's actually white in the logo and black. Okay, your RG, if you look on the left hand side, your info palette, I always suggest keeping that up here. Your info palette, if it's not on the screen, you're going to click home. This is where you would find all your panels and stuff like that, and you're going to click panels and your info palette will be there. Okay, you click on that, it's now removed it. I'm going to go back there, click on it again, it's now brought it back. Okay, you can, there's a lot of features in here. Print history, you can click on that. It tells you the pages that you printed, the cost. It just tells you how much ink you've used on each consumable. You can move that across, what printer printed it. This is great for remembering what you've branded and how many pages you've branded as well. Super important with keeping stock and managing your costs. Print history. All right, to get back to your info palette basically allows you to see what exact colors are. If you look on the left hand side there at the info palette, I've hovered over the black area. You can see that the RGB is all on zeros. That is a true black. With a CMYK or with a white toner printer, you'll achieve a true black with that RGB value. You can also change that to CMYK, and you can take a look there. That is the black that you get from CMYK when doing that. So CMYK's black generally consists of 100% on all values, but you can see that the RGB value is different with 100% RGB. So just remember that that value works very well with CMYK. That's the CMYK values on the left there for a true black. Alright, true white, CMYK will be all zeros, and it'll be the opposite for RGB, where white will be 255 on each value. Now that is a true white, that's a solid white. If it's 253 on all values, that's not a solid white. You're going to get less of an opaque white. So make sure when you're branding and you see that your white is not bright enough, make sure that the white value is 255 on each value, and at least all zeros on CMYK, as you see on the left there. All right, let's go back to image, and I want to go backwards. All right, now that we have gone through the editing process, you can now see, let's go zoom to fit. Guys, I'm not editing this video, so everything is just going to be as you see. It's based purely for training. All right, if you bring an image that is landscape, you can rotate it here. You can click rotate in the heading image. You can rotate it like that, and then it rotates it for you. So if it came in like this, so your image generally comes in like that. If it's landscape, you rotate it here. Okay, and then you exit the one that is in landscape. And then you can print it, because what happens is when you print preview, the landscape is going to look sideways in here. Okay. All right, next thing is, guys, when your printer is not printing, it's generally because of your printer name mapping under the heading home. To add in your printer, double click the drop down menu. If this is blank completely, which when you just started up your printer, this would be completely blank. I do have a video on this. You just double click underneath physical ports and it'll bring down the drop down menu. Same with that. Click the drop down menu and change your name to whatever you want it to be. All right, cost settings, you can change your cost settings here. Cost of each toner, 11,500 pages for A4, and then for A3 is 10,000 on each of the colors. Okay, I do have a video on that, which you can take a look at a later stage. All right, next thing is your environment. Now, very important, guys, if you're not getting the right colors, it's because your environment is wrong or you haven't selected it. So environment will have custom over here. It'll just say custom at this top bar. You can only change your environment in here. You don't go inside manage environment and choose your environment in here. Manage environment is only for editing your environments. Okay, it's not for changing it. So you're going to select the drop down menu and you select your environments. Yours might look different on here. I've made mine A4 contrasted, A4 accurate. If you don't have the accurate environment, please let me know and I can send it to you. All right, so make sure that your environment is selected before you start printing, because then your colors are not going to come out right. All right, now the difference between contrasted and accurate. Contrasted is the standard environment that you get with the RIP software. It actually prints your image with a bit of contrast already. So it does make, like for instance, photography. The contrast environment doesn't work too well with photography because it makes the image slightly darker than it's supposed to be. Now, accurate, on the other hand, makes the image more accurate. It gives you the right colors that you see on the screen, but they're not necessarily like bright and strong. That's unfortunately toner printers for you. Contrast really does make the printer seem like it's an inkjet. So that's why you'd use contrasted most of the time. I've named it that, so if you haven't named it that, please get in touch with me and I can help you out with that. All right, page size is very important. Next is make sure that you've selected your page size. If you create your environment, normally the environment is selected with your page size, so you don't need to do that every time. All right, and then accurate. If you've created it properly, I haven't done it here. Let's go into manage environment quickly here. We can change that. Properties. Inside here, we're going to go device options, and then in here is your resolution. If you press OK, inside here, and you change the resolution in there, you then exit your software. You exit your software, and then you go back in. Go back into your software. That saves the settings. Very important to save your settings is going in and out of your software. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to select, I changed it on contrast. Then you'll see there's your your resolution has been changed, and it's going to come back every single time on that resolution because you've changed it inside Manage Environment. Very important. All right, back to your underbase feature here. Let's bring in the logo again. I'm going to go print adjustment. All right, underbase, again, as I explained earlier, is the amount of whites going underneath your colors. On the fly is for the white inside the logo. I don't need on the fly in this logo. There's no white inside here, so I can put it on none. However, on the fly doesn't allow you to do half-toning. So I don't know why this feature is like this. My software developers have made it this way, but I need to change that. But anyway, the fuzziness stands for halftones, gradients. So if your image has got quite a few gradients in it, let's zoom into this image. There might be some gradients in here, definitely. So fading of a color into a color. So there is a fading of a color. See the black going into dark purple, going into light purple. That is halftones, gradients, fuzziness. We're going to change that to 10%. 10% fuzziness allows you to do your gradients or your halftones. All right. Guys, don't worry about choke, channel base. Don't worry about this. Color booster, if anything, you can use 10% on that if you want to try it out. Don't go higher than that. It will change your colors. I don't use it myself, but you might find that it might work for you on some images. Rasterization, this to create patterns in your logo, or for if you want to make your image a bit softer for heat transfer, AMB paper process. It does give you a bit of extra durability. I'm going to show you the settings I use. Dark almond. I go line dot. You can either choose 52.5 or 0. 0 is this line's going straight down. 52.5 is sort of just above 45-degree angle, so the lines are literally going in that direction. And then we're going to go 35 ruling, and you can go 0 min. I do have a print mask training manual that has pictures on it that shows you how the min and max works very well. So please take a look at that training manual. If you don't have it, let us know and we'll send it to you. You'll get a better understanding from that. I cannot explain it through my words. You have to actually see it in a picture. All right, now I've selected dark almond here, line dot, 0 angle, 35 ruling. Ruling stands for the amount of lines are inside an inch. So you've got 35 lines in an inch. If I make it 40, it makes it 40 lines in an inch. Okay. Minimum max value really actually separates those lines a bit more than, so if you got 20 min, then it's going to separate the lines throughout the whole logo, where if you put 0, the lines are going to be closer together in some parts of the image based on the color. So dark almond, what it's going to do is basically remove the dark colors in there in order for the black shirt to come through and where the dark colors are. Okay, so it's going to remove, like this image might not work too well with dark almond because it's got so many halftones. But yeah, it could work. But that's the thing, you got to test it out. You can always print it out on a piece of paper and see what it looks like. But it doesn't work too well if you're doing dark almond on a white piece of paper. That's the only thing. Light almond is for white shirts, dark almond for black shirts. This would work well for light almond, this image. This image would work very well. It's already quite detailed, so not necessary, but it would work very well for light almond, this image. Alright guys, that is dark and light almond. Constant mask, basically it gives you a pattern everywhere. Light almond removes the lighter colors for the light shirt to come through. Dark almond removes the darker colors for the darker shirt to come through. Constant mask removes no colors. It just creates the pattern that you've asked for. So it's creating line dots, 35 ruling, and 5% min. That's all it does. It doesn't remove any dark or light colors. All right, guys. Okay. Next thing is, if I go ahead and print this, okay, it's saying image. Okay, that's an important image. Image data spam in more than one page. This means that your image is too big for your page. It's got a preview. It's because of your paper size here. Let me change that. It's go to preview. All right, you can see that it's too big. Let's go to print options, drag that across. Okay, is this in inches? It might be inches. Oh no, it's not, sorry. Go fit to page. Okay, and now we can go ahead and print. Remember that error message pops up if your image is too big for your page, so you need to change that in preview. Okay. Now we're going to go print image. There's no printer selected, but I'm going to press OK anyway. All right, now when you print the image, your queue manager will have the printing job at the bottom here. Okay, you can hover over that. Printing error, printer has been removed. That means that it's not seeing your printer. Okay, there's two scenarios there. If you print and you haven't selected in your drop-down menu, generally you can select it in your drop-down menu. I don't have my printer connected as I'm doing a training video here. It's either that or it could be an internet problem. There's also another error message for that. All right, it would say normally print done if the image went through the printer. Next thing is, guys, press the plus sign. If you scroll down, you can actually drag this up to see the pricing here. So let's take a look here. We're on Ambi paper already. So the total cost was R7.67. That's too expensive. I'm thinking that I put 100% underbase here. Yeah. Okay, let's change that. That should be 35% underbase. Let's go ahead and print that again. Okay, now in order to see the other one, I'm going to click the minus sign. I'm going to go to the second one in the low row, click the plus sign. Okay, there's now the true cost, R4.77. So it was actually R3 cheaper than that last one. Okay, drag that across to see the whole thing. If it's not scrolling up and down, guys, press the plus sign, so the minus sign and plus sign again, and that'll allow you to scroll down. If you hover over that, it's always going to show you the image. So keep your mouse on the left-hand side here, and you can scroll up and down. All right, there's your pricing. If you look at next to your toner plus image drum cost, it gives you R4.77. But if you look to the right of that, you're looking at each cost of each of the inks, and above that it's telling you the percentage of each of the inks. So you actually use magenta mostly in this image. It shows you how much black and purple rely on magenta to get made up. Purple I understand, but black, you can see how much magenta is found in black. Luckily magenta is a cheap color, so to make up black it's not too bad. So you can see cyan and magenta is used mostly there. Your black is mostly made up with cyan and magenta. All right, there's your costing feature. It just tells you ripping time, how long it took to print. It's pretty much got all the information there for you. Again, guys, if you wanted to look at your print history, go to home, print history, and then you can see what you printed. So it didn't print to, it won't show in here, unfortunately, if you haven't actually printed it to the printer. Okay, so it needs to actually go to the printer and say print done in order for it to show up here. It's quite a neat tool, that. Another way to get costing without sending the logo to the printer is to disconnect your printer and print. Then it will give you a cost. So that's a nice way to get costing without having to print the page. Thanks, guys. That is about all I have for you today. Any technical side I will go through maybe in the future. But for now, image, again, is for your designing features. Oh, yes. Image, if it's not highlighted like this and your image is selected, it's because you've printed the page. So you actually got to physically delete these in order to edit it again. All right, so I've deleted in my queue manager. I can now edit this image again. Okay, again, this is where you edit your image. You can even desaturate it and make it black and white. Okay, editing side is under image. Print is to change environment, your page size, and your resolution. Print adjustment is for your underbase, on the fly, fuzziness, and then your print mask. Make sure to have this on none if you're not going to want to put any pattern. If you have this on any one of these things, it's going to put a pattern in your logo, whether you're printing on a shirt or on anything. So make sure to have that on none. And if you just want to print what you see on the screen, the underbase, on the fly, and fuzziness is what you're only going to be focusing on. And then remember, print preview over here, and your print options you can also change outside of print preview. All right, thanks, guys. That is the training done for today. Please let me know if you guys have any questions, and yeah, happy printing.